Welcome to once a week on Wednesday. Amy and I are here to give you women, the women creators, the best tips and also the values on, wellness and healthy lifestyle. So that's why we call it Women's Wellness Wednesday. And our topic today is self-worth. Self-worth. Yes, we're going to do our symbol. All right, do it with us. Okay. I know this may sound very deep, when we decided to talk about this topic on self-worth. Before I get started, I want to ask Amy, like when we explore this topic, what sort of words or phrases or concept it triggers when you hear the word self-worth?
Yeah, so when we were just discussing the topic before, I checked in with myself. What does self-worth even mean to me? Because they're just words. Self-worth. What's the meaning behind that to me? So I would say the meaning for me is to what extent I believe that I'm a worthy person, worthy of what happiness, love, abundance. Then there's the other side of it, that how I even view myself as a person.
Right.
How do I, when I look at myself, what do I see? How do I feel about myself? So there's maybe those two. There's the external definition of self-worth in relation to me and what I can attain in the world. And then my personal view when I look inwards. So maybe there's two ways we can look at that word.
Right. I love that. Yeah, you mentioned the word abundance, right? And it's actually very spot on in terms of like that's how I view self-worth as well. And also one more thing I would like to add to that is a lot of times when I start to think about self-worth, I think about my purpose. I think about, maybe part of it is to do with like my existence. What is my existence? What does my existence mean? What values do I bring to the table? Right. Many different tables. Which table we're talking about, right? Maybe to my family, to, I don't know, the community or to work or different things. And this, when I start to explore this topic and I start to talk to a lot of women, in our community and the women around us, and I often found that, actually it doesn't matter what age you're from. A lot of times women would actually use beauty, right, to define how they view themselves, how good they feel about themselves, and also their purposes. Purposes as, like the roles they play, like mothers or teachers or, like employees and bosses and things like that. So, so that just got me thinking, wow, one factor such as beauty can play it can be such a big impact. How about other things? And that's when I start to look at like other desires, which really matter to us, right? Like things like wealth, like money, freedom, love, relationships, what else? Yeah, and health, right? And it's funny because I hardly, to be honest, like working in the health and wellness industry for a few years, I actually have hardly seen anybody come to me and say, hey, I want to get in the best shape in my life. I want to be as healthy as possible so that I can start to look at myself differently. Only a few, and they're actually men. Women, right? It's very shocking. A lot of times women, they will come to me and go, I want to lose weight. I want to get in the best shape and health in my life so that I can prove, like, there's always the underlying sort of like desire so that I can prove to myself that, I'm strong, I'm worth it, so that I can show my kids or my family that, like I'm not weak or, my body, I'm not letting my body go and things like that. So that's why, like, I start to think that it will be very interesting to explore this area and also to, share with everyone that's watching right now or watching replay and share with us, type in the chat box, type in the comments, what is your experience when it comes to thinking about your purpose, your existence, and also, how do you respect yourself, how do you view yourself, what sort of like words that usually come up, and what situations, scenarios that you can think of. um, we can actually talk about the scenarios where you feel good about yourself, you feel like, oh, like I feel abundant, I feel powerful, versus the times that you don't feel so good about yourself, you don't feel enough, you feel like you have to achieve a certain level of something in a particular field, area, whether if it's like beauty, body image, or career, wealth, or social status, and then you feel like it's enough, right? Is it okay that I put it like this way?
Sure, you can put it
So
whatever way you want. I think I agree with that. It's like that view of our self-worth is totally conditional,
mhm,
and on what we've achieved in our lives and other people's opinions of us. That is that external one, right? The external self-worth, and then I think really the internal self-worth should be unconditional. That should be something that is solid, like almost like a rock, or maybe like there was a pole through your body, that this is like grounding you, because otherwise you can end up uh, with this disconnect, which I know so well, where on the outside things are, you see your value in the world, but on the inside
mm.
you're lacking in value, or even in any kind of perception of your own self, or that you matter in any way.
Right. I love that. I love that you mentioned about the external and the internal, and they have to align, right? And also you mentioned the word conditional, and everybody write this down, conditional. It is so true. We all have been conditioned to view, the values, self values or certain values or standards in a way that, I don't know, like whatever institute has put it in our system at a certain stage, right? And I thought that it's very important to talk about this because like for the longest time, I don't know if I mentioned previously that maybe since my late 20s, I have been viewing myself with the color lens, with the conditional glasses of you have to, also probably because growing up in an Asian family environment, that the condition is that you have to make certain income, have a certain occupation, respectful occupation, then like you'll get the recognition from family, or you get the recognition from the community and people around you. And then subconsciously, I think there was that comparison, whether the comparison was really there or not, but like you said, the internal thing, right? But because I've been conditioned, internally, so I did not accept myself for, who I was, back then, or, like this whole journey I'm talking about. So I did not really accept, my own achievement from swimming my own lane. But, it was always like, my self-worth is not enough until it will only be enough until I get, this kind of like occupation, this kind of job, and make this amount of money, because so and so is like, always being praised about, and then like, like so and so is always flaunting, their kids' achievements, or whether they're flaunting or not, they're just talking about it. But with my conditional, color lens, it just sounds like, okay, it's not. It's like a reminder to myself of my not enoughness. My self-worthness is like here. You know what I mean? Like internally. So that's something I want to share, and I felt like that really has been affecting me a lot. Since the late 20s until like my mid 30s. I just stepped into my late 30s. um, so I will say that for almost like a decade.
You don't look it.
Thank you. But then again, it's like, just when you mention it, right, your compliment for my look, again, it's like right now we're talking about self-worth, like thinking, well, does this make me feel good? Does this contribute to my self-worth, right? When people compliment or comment on my outlook on the physical appearance. So because we're exploring this, that's why I'm just kind of like processing this extra hard right now. It's like, interesting. Let's explore that in a moment.
Yes.
So I just felt like really compelled to share that with you and to like be really raw and authentic in saying that I think that has been affecting me a lot. And then that conditioned me to define my self-worth, um, my self-image in my 30s to be associated with career and wealth. And it is still there, like I cannot, I'll be lying if I'm saying that, oh, I'm healed and it is not 100% there. I'll be lying if I'm saying that, because I know that internally, subconsciously, it's still there. It may not be like 100%, it could be like 30, 40%, but it's not totally gone. So, by having this conversation with you, I also feel like this conversation would be a good therapy for me, for all of us, right? To really basically achieve maybe a few percent more to to heal ourselves in this journey of discovering ourselves.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's very similar for me. Obviously, when I was listening to Jing there and I was replaying a little bit about my my personal journey with self-worth, obviously the way that I was raised was being a very serious athlete at a very young age, and there's probably two main kinds of athlete. There's the ones who are doing what they're doing because they genuinely enjoy it and they want to and they just want to like express their passion for their sport. For me, the way that I operate in the world, it was all about making others happy. And so my self-worth is probably completely dependent on whether or not I feel that I have achieved that in every area. So when people ask me the question, and this is interesting that Jing picked this topic, because this is where I'm at in my journey right now, is that I need to take a look at that internal self-worth. And when I do, I actually notice that it doesn't even mean anything to me to say, do I have self-worth within myself? Because when I look at that, I just feel an emptiness. It doesn't even resonate, that question, with me. What does that even mean to have self-worth within myself, right? So this external part of the self-worth has always been easier, because I have been pretty successful for the most part of my life in keeping people happy. And as a result of that, my perceived value in the world, how I perceive my value in the world, is high. Okay. Mm-hmm. However, there's a huge disconnect. So, for example, when I was swimming, I was if I'm being completely rational and honest, I was extremely talented and I worked very hard and I should have made it to the highest level, but I didn't. So what we're seeing here is this disconnect with this internal self-worth, which maybe didn't even exist at all. I don't know even if it does exist now. So I'm like unsupported, if that makes sense. So here's where I should be hitting, and then there's nothing like backing that up. So mm-hmm. I always am the one who should do so much better than they actually do in all the areas of my life. Mm-hmm. And I think when I take a look at that, because where I'm at with my journey right now, and this seems like it's going to be a pretty raw conversation for Jing and I, is the mentor that I'm working with. The very last thing that they said to me was, Amy, if you can't matter to yourself, how the hell are you ever going to matter properly to other people? Like, you have to matter most of all to yourself. Mm-hmm. And this is the part of the journey that I'm on. And this is quite a fundamental part of all of our journeys, really, is to even discover what that even means.
Right. That's very, very powerful. We just said now, what you have to matter to yourself before you matter to the external world. And I would like everybody to sink it in for a moment. Take a second, take a deep breath in. And slowly breath out. Think about the last time that you did something for yourself, and then you know that you're actually taking care of your spirit, taking care of yourself physically. I think we are trying our best to do that every day. But also this, the spirit will have that soul that needs to be taken care of, right? And that is the fundamental, like what Amy said, that is the fundamental thing that matters the most, that we have to matter to ourselves. And it's just so powerful when you brought it up now. And I love how raw this conversation gets, because it's the exact, the authentic energy we need to bring out to, to the circle and let everybody really look within, right? Like, we're not always here to give you rainbows and sunshines. I mean, of course, we're here to give positivity and love to you all, but also, in the process of generating high vibes and positivity and love for yourself and for others, you also have to go through storm. You also have to go through crap, right? Or like, I'm refraining myself from swearing, but like a lot of crap, basically. So we have to be, we really have to confront some of the things and really be okay with our human emotions. And then after the storm or during the storm, what can we discover for ourselves? And also, what can we do? Like, even if it's like tiny bit of something, we have to do something for ourselves to make sure that everything matters for ourselves first. So whoever, like, you're watching right now, I'm not checking the comments right now because I want to focus my energy here. Please leave us comments, please leave us, and share with us, what are you going through right now? And I know that all of you need positivity, all of you need love and healing energies, and we're here to give you that for sure. But also, we're here to give all of you the love through reality check. Can I put it this way? We're giving you the love through reality check, and also letting you know that you're not alone, whatever you're going through right now, and we're here for you. And yes.
Yeah, I wanted to just mention something, and as you were speaking, it came up, is that now, just because, like I said, I don't feel like I matter to myself or even know what that means, that doesn't mean that I don't on some level. I'm just not aware of it. And even if you have terrible self-esteem, even if you have like you feel like totally worthless and like you're a piece of crap and who doesn't deserve happiness on the inside, it doesn't actually mean that you have no self-worth. And I can give you some evidence in this. What I've started to look for recently is that those keys that I must actually have, I must matter to myself. And that is like, if I didn't matter to myself, then I would never have tried to start to feel healthier and fitter. Because I like put on a lot of weight after I had my son, and I really gave up for years. And there's no reason other than the fact that I wanted to feel better about myself, and I wanted to matter, and I wanted to be healthier, and I wanted to be able to look in the mirror and like what I saw, that I started to get fit and started to fight for myself. Okay, so this is where this like fighting for yourself comes in. Literally any time that you make conscious time for yourself or do something to make yourself happy, that is evidence that you matter to yourself. For example, I'm going to say to my son, right, I'm just going to take some quiet time right now. I need some quiet time. I must matter to myself to give myself that. When I go for a run, to feel better, to feel more energized, that's also showing that I matter. When I go to the store and I choose for myself my favorite bar of chocolate, that's showing that I matter to myself. When you're doing things for yourself, so start to notice those things. And the other one that like might be controversial, but it's an emotion that I've been really exploring this week in my videos is anger. Okay, because it has a terrible rep. But anytime that someone comes up to you and hurts your feelings and you feel anger, that's actually you saying, no, I deserve better. I deserve to be treated well. I deserve to not have this person, confront me right now or attack me right now. So you're also like fighting for yourself. So I was just I would encourage you to start to notice those times that you're fighting for yourself, because just because you're not aware of your own self-worth doesn't mean that it's not there on some level, because of course it is. Who we are fundamentally, your higher self totally thinks that you're worthy and lovable. It's just becoming conscious of that and aware of that. So just because you can't see it does not mean that it's not there.
I love the way you put it, like about, we are fighting for it, and also the different actions and behavior we have actually do show that, we matter. I guess sometimes it's manifested in different ways, right? Like different emotions or different behaviors. And just now when you're talking, I was reminded that, a lot of times the emotion of jealousy also could be in a manifestation of the way that we are fighting for our self-worth, right?
Yeah.
That we want to matter, but then someone or something comes up, and then that triggers, that emotion of jealousy, because maybe we see someone that's better than us, or something that's, higher and, better. And then suddenly we're like, hey, I gotta fight for, I gotta fight to be validated. Okay, let's put it this way, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Or like they've got something nice. Why don't
Mm,
I just? I must deserve something nice, right? Because the one to really register against is shame. Okay, shame is the bottommost emotion.
mhm.
If you're in shame, that's you genuinely think I don't deserve to exist right now. But anything greater than that, there's hope. There's like actually no, like you said, jealousy, anger, that kind of thing, pride, even pride. That they're distorted. But these emotions. So if we look at like animals as reference, right? So animals, they just have natural self-worth. They don't have all of this like BS and baggage. My cat, another cat comes into her territory and threatens her territory. She doesn't go into a corner and go, "Oh no, I'm not worthy." You can just have it. I'm a terrible cat. I really don't deserve this territory anyway. You should take it. She's like, no. I'm gonna take my territory back. I'm gonna fight for my territory. I deserve my territory. You put like a treat in front of her, and she's not gonna say, "Oh, I don't know if I deserve to feel this good and have this treat." She's just, I'm just gonna take it. So these kind of more primal emotions and instincts that we have is a way that we can sort of check in with them. Not to say that they are like functional in the world, but what I'm saying is if you're coming from a level of shame where you have like no self-worth, then anything greater than that is a step up towards the positive.
Right.
So just notice in yourself the times where actually I am fighting for myself. Actually, I do feel that on some level I'm worthy, because it's those primal emotions that really are like beyond all of our BS and our emotions and all of our trauma and anything like that.
Right, right. I love that. So everybody print out the, energy emotions chart and then checking with yourself where you are right now. But of course, by having said that, we're not here to promote that having too much, right? Too much, like, you have to experience. We're all humans, right? We have to go through and experience different emotions. But of course, we're also promoting to be at the highest, the highest vibrations as much as possible. But when you're, down there, right, at the lower vibrations, we also have to check in with ourselves, like how
Exactly.
much. Sorry, yes.
Well, becoming aware, this is the thing, this is the fun thing about it, is if you're in a jealous state or an angry state, and then you suddenly become aware, oh, I'm jealous and angry, oh, that's all it is. All that it means is that I'm fighting myself. You've immediately elevated yourself back up to.
Exactly. That's right. I
This is
love
how we
that.
can easily bring consciousness and light into those moments, rather than just being gripped in them and reacting to them.
Mhm.
If that makes sense.
Totally, totally. That's exactly what I was trying to say. But Amy phrased it really good,
Sorry.
really well. The moment you catch yourself doing that, right, you're bringing awareness and consciousness into it, then you're elevating already. So that's why we're here to tell you that, don't get too caught up in that spiral of that low vibration. When you are conscious and catch yourself, then you are taking yourself out of it. And then, of course, we want to prevent ourselves from going in there all the time, right? And that will be another topic for another day, because this can get really, really deep. And
Yes, for sure.
and we are here to elevate all of you, right? And if you are feeling any of the low vibes right now, shame, anger, or jealousy, or anything like that, we're here to elevate you. simply by having this beautiful discussion to help you elevate and have some awareness, right?
Yeah.
And definitely anyone has any questions, and if you have anything you want to share, share with us in the comment. I noticed that usually after we finish live, we get a lot of messages because I think we have a lot of people watching this on replay. Um, Sending all of you lots of love. And also, what would you suggest? Like, we're here, to give you girls, not too long of a deep topic, because I know this topic can be quite deep. And today we're intending to give everybody a relatively shorter one so that you'll have time to digest and break it down and, have it absorbed. So, like, so Amy, like, before we go off, what would you suggest everybody to do apart from the golden nuggets you already mentioned about checking in with yourself and
Yeah,
be aware of emotions?
I think check in with yourself and just maybe ask yourself this question. Do I feel self-worth? What does self-worth mean to me? And check in. Okay, if you're already like, yeah, I feel really, really worthy, that's great. But what we're here to support those of you that might feel negatively about yourselves. And this is why we're having to bravely step into those painful emotions and just encourage you to be like, okay, so maybe let's just say worst case scenario, you're totally in shame. The only way's up. Okay, the only way's up from there. Accept that you're there, bring consciousness in, and then start to fight your way back. Notice every single thing that you do for yourself, even if it's getting angry and jealous, as a positive. Start to see the positive spin on all of these negative emotions that we were just talking about here. If I'm angry, I'm fighting for myself. If I feel jealous, it's because I actually feel like I deserve good things. If I'm pride, yeah, it's a bit of an ugly emotion, but at least I'm not in shame. I'd rather be proud than in shame, and start to climb your way back out of it. Because what happens so much of the time, and this is what I was exploring this week in my video, is that shame really has a grip on all of those emotions that we call negative. Because the second that you notice I'm angry, or I'm a terrible person for being angry, and you jump back down to shame, what we're trying to help do here is just lift you up and say there's no shame in this, right? Jing and I have been through this, you're going through this, we're all in this together. But we can climb our way back out of that very, very quickly if we just become aware of it. So I think if your worst case scenario right there, I have no self-worth, I hate myself, I don't deserve to live, let's just take that. Okay, fine. Let's just accept where we are right now. We are where we are, and that's okay. Now notice every single thing that you do in the day for yourself, literally, even if it's giving yourself a coffee. If you make yourself a coffee, there's no reason for you to do that other than that you want to make yourself happy in that moment and feel good and feel the warm coffee. Write it down and start to notice that actually you do value yourself, because you wouldn't be doing these things otherwise, and start to become consciously aware of them. And that way you can start to climb your way back up again.
Right. I love that. I love what you just said about, noticing the little things that you do. Everything you do is actually for yourself.
This
It,
relates back to relationships, remember? So
yeah.
let's say the love language, right? And
Yeah.
we're just ignoring all this stuff that our partners are doing for us and saying, well, they're not getting me flowers, but meanwhile they're making cups of tea and things like that. It should be the exact same relationship building with yourself. Like, notice the small things that you do for yourself.
Right.
Go
The
ahead.
self-love language, right? I love that. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Maybe
totally.
another week topic on this.
Oh, definitely self-love language. I mean, this actually will be a really good topic for, perhaps next week, because we do have a lot of ladies asking or like exploring and looking to improve self-love, because a lot of people don't know or they're not sure how is their relationship with themselves. Are they loving themselves enough? And it is also like heavily associated with what we're talking about here this week, the self-worth. And one small suggestion, which is very similar to what Amy just mentioned now, for me is that I like to call it like an evidence file. You can actually compile an evidence file for yourself. I would like to call it the happiness or your self-love. Okay, if you girls prefer the word self-love, self-worth, evidence file, right? I'm always like a journal girl. You can collect the evidence of what you have accomplished, because most of the time people will be like, I haven't accomplished anything, I'm not good at anything, I'm not even worth, I don't want to go there, but I've heard this many times that I don't deserve to be here, or I shouldn't even be born, kind of thing. Like, I hate to mention this, but I have heard this. So I would actually suggest to, have actually don't do this alone. I should suggest you find a, someone that you feel comfortable confiding in, someone that you're close to, someone that you always feel so uplifted by. Okay. And if you don't have anybody like that, you can come to, either Amy or I. Okay. Come to us. Do this with someone and then write things down. So I call it the evidence file, meaning that you're collecting evidence like a detective, evidence of the times, just like what Amy said, you're making yourself a cup of coffee or tea that makes you, body feel warm, make you feel good. But also, I would like to invite all of you to go a little bit bigger, one step above is think about the times that you have done something to make yourself feel good. Okay, so it could be something as little as, oh, I finished reading this book last week. I have helped someone did this last week or last month. And then last year I did this and that. All the things you have done, right? That you actually, let's just take away the emotion from here. Because, sometimes when we're not feeling good, anything that you have done, you just don't feel like it's worth anything, right? Let's be honest. So just take away the emotions and just write down the things that you have done. Now we're in what, November already, right? Today's, well, angel number, 11th of November, right? So we're almost at the end of the year. Okay, think about the times, like what the things you just have done. Okay, don't think of it as like accomplishment, like during lockdown. Oh, I didn't do nothing. No, you did do something during lockdown. Think about the things that you probably have watched, you have read, the YouTube you've watched, or some other things you've done. Everybody is doing something every day to prove, basically, not to prove anything, but think about it. Any minute you're alive, you're doing something, you're doing things that matter to yourself, just like what Amy said. Anything that you're feeling, right? Whether it's anger or sadness, you're being alive, you're doing something to yourself, right? For yourself. So I would like to ask everybody to collect evidence, all right? But do this with someone, okay? And do this in a sort of like without any attachment to any sort of like, the low vibes. Like, okay, I've done this, but nah, it's not, it doesn't even matter. It's a waste of my time kind of thing. Don't even go there. Just write down all the things you have done. And that is my suggestion. And after you do that, collect the evidences, you start to see that, wow, I've done a lot. And flip the switch, meaning that, change the emotions, change the way you see those things, change the way you perceive the actions and the things that you have accomplished, and try that. And let us know how you feel. And go and make yourself a cup of tea and enjoy that cup of tea and let us know how you feel after this.
I like that.
Yeah. I know, right? I feel like I need that after this. When you mentioned about chocolate and tea, I'm like, ooh, okay. I think that would be a really good thing for today, because we're like, today is like a raining day here. And that's why we're here to give everybody the extra support during the cold days and, give you the warmth and the fire when you're feeling cold and down, right? Anything else you would like to share with everybody, Amy?
No, I think that wraps it up really, really well. So yeah, everyone, just make sure you gather that evidence file and we will talk more about this, I think, next time.
Yes, that's right. And if you have any questions, make sure you write them in the comments. And because we do check, a lot of you watch the replays, right? Thank you so much, everybody, for watching and joining us for another WWW, and sending you all lots of love. For both, Amy and everybody. We all need lots of love for, the season, right? And all seasons, all year round. So catch you all next week, and take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.